Hey everyone, welcome back to our channel. If you're new here, please subscribe. I'd really love that. If you're returning, how you doing? What we're going to be talking about right now is what Governor Ron DeSantis did, okay? And in my honest opinion, I think that every state should follow suit, and it would be wise for every governor to follow suit as well. For years, Florida has been trying to return federal funds to the federal government due to the ideological strings that were attached by the past administration. But they couldn't even figure out how to accept it. Well, yesterday, Ron DeSantis met up with Elon and the Doge team, and they returned the federal funds on the same day. And other states, like I said, should follow Florida in supporting Doge's efforts. And this is what was said in a letter. Okay, and it said the official. I'm sure you could see this official office of the governor. And it says to U.S. Department of Treasury from the Office of Federal Florida Governor Ron DeSantis, date March 21st, 2025. Returning of federal taxpayer dollars. At the direction of Governor DeSantis and following his meeting with Elon Musk today, the state of Florida is formally returning $878,112,000 in taxpayer dollars to the federal government as part of the Doge efforts. The specifics are below. We will also continue to identify other unused or surplus federal funding granted to Florida and determine if further refunds can be made. We hope our actions serve as a model for other states to follow. Now, this was swiftly resolved after a long-standing issue by successfully returning the federal funds previously rejected due to ideological conditions imposed by the past administration. Now, Florida's $878 million of federal funds is exactly how states should prioritize taxpayer dollars. No strings attached, no bureaucratic delays, and the Doge team's partnership streamline a process that previously took years into a single day, proving that efficiency isn't just possible, it's mandatory. Now, this is not isolated. Since January, agencies have cut $935 million in wasteful contracts. And that also includes a $3.5 million for redundant IT consultants and $4 million grants for DEI focused construction materials. So when leadership aligns, like what Governor Ron DeSantis just did, and he worked directly with Doge, real results do follow. $580 million was saved this week alone from terminated contracts. Other states should really take note here. Returning bloated federal handouts isn't partisan, it's fiscal responsibility. So, what is the alternative? Letting DC burn your taxes on $75 million website surveys or $830 million consulting scams? Florida's move isn't just symbolic, it's a blueprint. The question is how many other states used these funds for something else? And they didn't care about returning them. And for that matter, how many times has this type of thing happened? And by that, I mean how many times have states received funding for something and then used that funding for something else, and the government didn't care. They didn't call them and say, hey, did you use the funding for what it was allocated for, or what do we want to see receipts. And see, that's the thing. I think that we, like when we remember with the door greeters at Walmart. Okay, this is just an example. You couldn't even walk out the door without showing your receipt saying, see, I paid for all of my groceries, and yes, the bag of dog food and the 2 cases of soda that are underneath the cart, yes, I did pay for it. I feel that when federal funding is handed over to a particular state, whether it's for natural disasters or whatever the case may be, I feel that receipts need to be handed over and say, here you go. This is what we spent the money on, and it is itemized. Okay? Because this way, states cannot get away with just randomness and just doing whatever they want. I mean, this is just my opinion. Okay, this is someone who, knows how to budget, and, penny pinching and everything else. So you have to show some receipts now. Okay. And I mean, this is, budgeting 101. Okay. Save your receipts and show them. So if you have an accountant, what do they always tell you? Save your receipts. Save all your gas receipts. Save for this receipt. Save that receipt. Oh, did you take your client out to dinner? Save that receipt because that's tax deductible. You know what I'm saying? So these are just the things that I feel would be beneficial. So there's no questions later. And the citizens of that state are going, well, you were just given this much money because we just had a natural disaster, but yet you're not rebuilding our infrastructure. So where'd all that money go? This way, no one is scratching their head going, we don't know where it went, or we don't have answers, or you can't ask about that. Well, now we have, okay, so now receipts have to be shown. But that's just my honest opinion. I think that that is something that should be put into play from now on. Because, as Americans, as citizens, okay, this is just something to ponder on. Just to remember, okay, that every time you yourself or your family or your friends, you're sweating bullets because you have to scrape together for your car payment, or every single month, or you're digging through the couch cushions for your rent money or your mortgage, or every time you go to the grocery store where you're forced to slide, I can't get that, take that loaf of bread, put it back on the shelf, whatever the case may be, because your wallet is crying. Okay, don't forget that they have funneled hundreds of billions of dollars of our hard-earned tax dollars to freeloaders who don't lift a finger for it, and foreign nations who could care less about us. All the while, we are stuck footing the bill. Okay? And this even goes for our states. They have to show what they are spending this money on. Now, is this something that's in play? Probably not, where they have to show receipts. I highly doubt it. But I just think that it is something that should be put into play. From this day forward, I want to see receipts. Elon and Trump and everybody else, they're finding like all the culprits and, where all the money laundering is going, blah, 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 blah. Okay, well, you know what? If a state, okay, like hurricane season starts June 1st, okay? And say we have another natural disaster like we did with Helene and Milton and stuff like that. And you're going to allocate natural disaster or emergency funds to a specific state. Okay, well, once infrastructure starts to get built again, we want to see an itemized list of all the receipts and everything else that you spent that money on, and then whatever's left you have to give back. Okay, it's the same thing with any kind of a loan that you get, or even if you have to take out like go through your homeowner's insurance, to have house repairs done, stuff like that. Same thing. It's just because everything that is happening is questionable especially when it comes to funding. That's just my opinion. Yeah. All right, guys, I'm out of here. I will see you in the next one. Okay, you stay safe, you stay positive, you keep prepping, and as always, fearless. Ciao.